This is a drill. This is not a drill.
Yo, hey guys, this is Julian of Julian Gray Media. Welcome to this month's stream. Already in the chat, we have a few people. Hi Zan, hi Vestia, and everyone else who's watching out there. Let me know who you are and where you're watching from in the comments below. Definitely curious to see where you guys are watching from. We have, I think, 4 or 5 projects today, and we also have, oh, it looks like I'm Minnie Mouse for today's stream. We have 4 or 5 projects today, and I have 1 SoundCloud link. I think we'll start with the SoundCloud link so that we can get that out of the way. Oh, it says I'm quiet. Okay, I can raise my volume. Yeah, so here we are. Let me do this. Should be better now, in theory. Hello? Check, 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 check. Cool, that should be better. Kevin watching from Lithuania. Oh, that's just Vestia. Congrats on the new releases. Cheers. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to remove that. Okay, so we have a few SoundCloud links, I believe, and then we have a handful of projects for today. We're going to dive into these. If you're new to the streams, basically I do these streams to help you guys, get an insight as far as my feedback goes, because I can give you feedback on a SoundCloud link all day, but these streams are helpful because they let me really dive into what's going on in your project and show you what I think you can correct. by getting hands-on and really working on the project rather than just giving you some like loose feedback. So so if you're interested in submitting a project for next month, we don't take submissions day of because it would be hectic if I had to download 30 projects in a day. And we also do like the first 5 usually, maybe 6 that are submitted. If you're interested for next month, go over to patreon.com/JulianGray, and pledges over $10 have access to submit to these streams. I only do that because when I first started doing this, it was a lot of people submitting, and I don't want to, get 30 submissions a time and then only get to the first 5. So if you're interested, go and check out the link in the description, and you can sign up on Patreon and send in a project for next month's stream. We do this on the second Saturday of every month. Okay, so to start things off, we're going to go ahead and listen through that first track, which was a SoundCloud link. If you're not in Ableton Live, you can also send me SoundCloud links or Dropbox links or whatever, just so I can hear your song. I generally don't do that unless you're in like FL Studio, Logic, Pro Tools, or whatever. I generally like to keep them to project files, but if you're not in Ableton, then you can do that. All right. Okay, so here we are. This is Ableton. We're gonna hop in here in a little bit, but let's first get through this first one. This is Alakajam, which is an amazing name. This is a SoundCloud feedback we're gonna give really quick here, and let's jump right into it. First of all, though, let's check out the comments of the chat. Girlfriend said she's surprised you weren't recording from your bed today. Yeah, I'm up and about today. Hamilton watching from Ireland, blasting some Julian Gray and Pippa. Cheers! Thank you for listening to our song. Is it Delicate or is it Touch? Watching from Colorado. Well, welcome from Colorado. Let's go ahead and give this Alakajam Sour Candy version 5.1 stream. A little bit quiet. And no sound, they're saying in the chat. Let me make sure that that's working before we play this thing through. Let's try this now. There we are. Okay, restarting. Restarting the track. Sorry about that. For some reason, I had to restart my audio driver. Yeah, should be good now. Confirm that. Oh, duh. There you go. So the first note I have, and I can't really, like I said, I prefer to do these in project files because I can't work on your project for you when it's a SoundCloud link, and that's kind of the point of these streams. The first thing I'd say is make sure all your music is in key. It sounds like some of your notes are not following the key of the song. Your pads, for example, are way out of tune with your, not out of tune is the wrong word, but out of the key of the regular song, or the rest of the song, rather. The bass and the lead are in a totally different key. Also, it sounds like some of the notes in there are not exactly forming to the key either. You're kind of interpolating different keys. So what I would suggest doing is trying to find a parent key and then just limit your notes for now while you're still learning. Limit the notes to notes that are compatible with the key or the mode that you choose. Like let's say you choose like an A minor. Only write notes that are contained within the A minor scale, so that way you don't run into this problem of having notes that are like very obviously out of key. The soundscape is nice. Like you have some really cool sounds. You have a decent amount of elements in here, but it just feels, dissonant and distracting because the music isn't harmonizing right. Yeah, there's like no rhyme or reason to some of these melodic parts. The other thing I would say, there's no like rhyme or reason to the phrasing either. Like the melody and the bass don't work together. I would try to lock both of those into like a 4 or 8 bar length, and then try to write an 8 bar bass that corresponds to your 8 bar melody. It sounds like there's just kind of varying degrees of lengths for each of the multiple elements, and it's kind of like this bizarre combination. The drums sound good. Hi, whoever just joined the chat. I don't know how to read that language. Mini Gray. I like that. Cool soundscape. But like I said, the music is just very dissonant here. I think that just conforming your music to a key, even if it's like a harsher key, like something like a diminished key, or even like a Phrygian mode or something, could be useful here. But it sounds like all these notes are kind of just there. I would assume that you don't have like formal music training. So like, this is an interesting case because this song, I think the primary problem with it is the music. The sound design is cool. The drums are fine. The mix isn't even that bad. It's just that the music is so dissonant that it's distracting. Yeah, I think that's what you'll have to address first before I can critique this any further. The music just needs to be conformed to like a standard key, I think. Overall, though, I think the sounds are good. The sound design is cool. The arrangement's actually pretty decent too. Like you have a very distinctive breakdown, and you have a pretty decent drop section like contrast. You just don't have the music all there yet. So keep working on it. I like where you're going with this. You just got to get the music under control, I think. The writing is not terrible. Or the arrangement and the sound design and that sort of stuff. All right, so now we're actually going to hop into live. We have, I believe, 3 projects today. No, it's 4 projects today. We'll get to this one first because it doesn't have a name and I know who it is. And rather than forget the name of the person, I'm just going to open this one up here because, I know their name. This is Tom Rogers. He's probably in the chat. And this track is called Karina. There's multiple versions here. Karina Session RGT Edit. I'm assuming this is not the final title. Let's see if we can find the most recent one. We'll open that. Okay, today at 10:43. All right, we'll open this one up and see what we're dealing with here. Porth welcome to the chat. My Waves plugins are having a panic attack. What's up, Porch? I think that was a typo for Porth. All right. Missing some frozen samples. Probably not collect all and saved. But we should be able to play at least the bulk of this. Those look like supporting samples anyway. Let's get into this. So this is Tom Rogers. Doesn't have a name, I don't think. It's just known as Karina Session 581 AM. Let's go ahead and play this. Very dramatic. Ooh, nice. Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for sending it. That transition could use a little bit of massaging. I turn my speakers down because it says there might be some flanger. But I think there's actually flanger on that sound. Hey, Chris Hernandez is here as well. assuming this is just not being used. Yeah, no, it's not my mic because I'm hearing it back in flangery sound as well. Might be like... my output. Oh, you know what? There we go. Audio drivers fail me again. Right there is a little bit weird. Yeah, I think that's the part I'm picking up. Little bit of a weird duplicate thing here. I don't think this was intentional, but your chords like don't line up right here, and the lead doesn't work with that chord. Like, you have that note in there, which is like not the right note. Yeah, that note is wrong. Like if you just remove this, it'd be better. Also, this should probably move along with this, so like your movements in your pad should reflect your bass, in my opinion. It does it throughout the song, like here, but like this in this one spot, it kind of lingers on, and it's a little weird. I almost say like just carry on, like doing what you were doing. Yeah. So I think you're trying to do something clever here, like holding the holding that pad out. But if you do that, you really have to make sure you mirror that in your bass, because otherwise you end up with weird dissonance between your bass and your pad. I think that's what you're going for. That's immediately better. This doesn't feel like a bridge to me. It feels more like a drop. Let's go ahead and listen through this part into that part. Yeah, that's awesome right there. I think what would behoove you here is just to kind of figure out the arrangement a bit more. Like, let's do my like signature arrangement trick here with the MIDI trick, or the MIDI clips. If you haven't seen that, you can check out my most recent video about it. So this is like an intro. Just drop right in. Yeah. Assume that that's the correct length of 32 bars. There's There's like some sort of really low percussion doing something here, and it's really distracting. I think it might be this. Yeah, like that doesn't need to be in there. Is that it? Oh, it's this one for sure. Yeah, let's lose that one and keep the toms. Like, that's not really adding much, I don't think. Yeah, that big bass hit is way too, like, over the top, I think. First thing I want to address, like mix wise, is kind of some of these levels are a bit weird. Like the guitar is a little too loud, that lead is way too forward, and we can address that with a little bit of like reverb or delay, and also just turning it down a little bit. I think that'll help. That lead is it's ace in the hole. It's like a perfect lead. It makes a lot of sense. It's very catchy. Turn this down a little bit, and then we're also gonna make this delay kind of push down in the frequency spectrum here, because as you start to reveal all this high-end delay, you start to distract from the dry voice, because the dry voice is where all that high information is. That's where all your like clarity is. Think of this like if somebody's in your room, they're talking to you directly, you're getting a lot of their like transparent, dry, high frequencies tone. And as they get further away from you, they kind of fall off. The high end goes away, and you know the distance starts to reduce the high end that's transmitted. And if you put too much delay up here in the high end, you start to give a sensation of like 5 or 6 people talking to you at the same time. It's too many voices up here in the high end, and it's as if, you know, several people are surrounding you talking to you at once. But if you are in a crowded room, your mind can deduce, you know, this is the person talking to me, and everyone else in the background kind of gets filtered out, and you kind of emulate that by rolling off some of the delay. And you can do that with delay plugin in live just by doing this. In other plugins, it might be like a low pass setting on your delay. And yeah, something like this, just so it's a little bit less distracting. You can kind of hear the difference. See how those little bubbles around you kind of feel like they're grabbing your attention, but as you start to remove the high end, that main crisp top lead is the only voice talking, and then the rest of them are just kind of subdued in the background. I'm also going to set this to jump so it bounces through the ears a little bit more, between the ears, I should say. I think something truly magical on this would be like a really nice like room reverb, like Valhalla Room or similar, maybe like 20%. And just, you know, a decent amount of decay, like 2 seconds is probably fine. Maybe very little to no pre-delay, and then you just give it some more high end so that you get those nice crisp reflections. Yeah, it's pretty. And then from here, I'd like to reintroduce our bass and our pad and try to get those levels kind of matched, because your drums are generally just really loud. They need to sit over top of everything else, but the 3 core elements I think are your bass and your supporting like chords, and then your lead. So let's try to balance these 3 out the best we can. on the bass channel, I just want to look at, you know, what the frequencies are doing here. I don't have whatever this is, your Filter Freak 1. But I just want to look at what's happening here in like span, so we can see exactly what's going on sonically, because I don't have a sub hooked up right now. I want to see how your low end looks. You're looking pretty good at like 40, 60, 80. Okay. Let's play that with our pad now. I think the pad should be up a bit more. Somewhere in like this kind of range. Might also be a brightness thing, like it doesn't feel like it's bright enough. Can I unfreeze that? That's just serum. Yeah, it should be good. Yeah, and then I'm gonna open this guy a little bit more so we can reveal some more high end. For that same reason, like I wanted this to be more forward of an element, and that crispness in the high end is where the forwardness is, the presence. So let's go ahead and do that. Decibel louder. Alright, let's bring these drums in one by one and see if this doesn't sound better. Okay, kick's too quiet by far. I'm just gonna neutralize that to 0. Have our kick way out in the front. That's too much. We also don't have a limiter on, so we're clipping into the master here. Ideally, I'd like to turn all these down, but you have some volume automation on a few things, so I don't want to do it that way. So what I'll do instead is like the MacGyver method. Just take a utility and reduce your master gain a few decibels. It's actually no different in live because it's a floating point DAW. There's no like distortion until you actually export, or until it actually gets converted in your master chain to like actual sound. So I'm just gonna do -3 here. That'll give us some room to play with the master as well. It's kind of a weird curve on your kick. I'm just gonna give some high back. Doesn't have like a ton of body to it. Song's in A, so you are in the right key, but the kick just doesn't have like that weight it needs, I think. Doesn't feel like way down here at like 30 hertz or whatever. Maybe we can try to find another kick that is a little bit better. Just see if we can't find a better kick really quick. Yeah, let's just dig through and kind of like in that one. I wonder where that's sitting as far as sonics go. Yeah, okay, so that's like down here at 54. This one was at, or I'm sorry, that one's also at 54, but it feels more weighted. I think it's because it's got more low frequencies than high. Let's just try to swap these and see if it works. It feels heavier. You want to make sure your kick's kind of the loudest part. Then I can put the clap on. That bit. loudest element, if not the loudest, because it's that shiny crispness that really makes a good clap, or clap and hat, really. Okay, now that the whole mix is in there, I think the pad's a little loud. I'm gonna dip that like 2-3 decibels. And then I noticed you have a mastering tool on here, but it's actually not on. I'm just gonna turn that on. Ozone just crashing every single time. It's like a common thing for me. And I'm just trying to, grab the kicks and the clap transients a bit and, flatten them out a little bit so we have a little bit more lift. Just, playing with the input gain here of the limiter, and then just trying to, set your threshold accordingly to try to get only like the kicks and the claps to be what's being compressed. Then I'm going to go ahead and unsolo everything so we can hear the mix. This guy is really, really pretty. I want to just accentuate this with a little bit more reverb. It seems you have some on here, but I just want to make sure we really make this shimmer. And then I'm going to grab the reverb and put it at the end of the chain. You never want to put your reverb before your delay for like obvious reasons. You don't want to make 50 copies of a 20-second reverb tail. Gets really, really cumbersome that way on CPU, and also just it sounds really busy. I'm going to give this a little bit more high end. It's a little bit much when you look there. Yeah. A little bit less wet signal, and then give our reverb maybe a little bit more high end. We can try a little bit of compression on the reverb to get that like 80s compressed reverb effect. Basically flattens your dynamics a little bit, so you end up with louder tails. I do it quite a bit on like my ARPs and stuff. Yeah, let's put this in the mix now. Sidechain isn't really aggressive enough, I don't think. Sidechain should always be the last thing in the chain too, just so that, for the same reason as like you don't put a reverb after delay, you don't want to put a reverb after a sidechain, because your sidechain is designed to cut the volume regularly, so that you end up with a pumpier signal. And if you fill those gaps, those quieter pumps with reverb, you end up really distracting. Or taking away the point of the sidechain. So I'm gonna make this a little bit more aggressive, maybe like a 4-to-1 or something, and then see how that sounds. I'm also gonna put that on our pad as well. It doesn't have it. to could be really nice. And then I think I'm going to call it a wrap on this one because don't want to spend the whole time on here, but I could keep working on this all day. I really love this track. It's very beautiful. It's kind of a supporting element, so I'm just going to add some, a decent amount of reverb here. It's very like taiko-esque. A little bit more even. A little bit less high end too, just really push it back in the mix. Should be able to get the gist and fix that up. Just drag the point over. But yeah, this is a really good song. Tom, love this track. Mad like lane 8 vibes. Yoto, however you pronounce it. I'm gonna go ahead and save this for you. Really, really awesome job. And let's get on to the next one because we've already spent 40 minutes on one song. Okay, so that's Tom Rogers, and that's an untitled track. Just something coming up in the future. Here's Mark Eldon, Singularity. I'm gonna go ahead and get some water while we open this. Hi guys. All right, we're back. This is Mark Eldon's track. He's a regular of the stream. You see him probably every time. Nice fridge, not gonna lie. Thanks. All right, here we are. Mark Eldon, or Eldon, Singularity. I think we've worked on this in the previous stream, so. Expecting this to be good. Somehow my sound went out on my OBS when I switched my thing around. So here we go. Check. There we go. Cool. You should be fixed now. Let me know if you can hear me. Sorry about that. Yeah, my OBS cut off my mic driver for some reason. But what I was saying is you essentially had a EQ after your limiter, and the small variance in volume that an EQ can introduce, even if it's, you know, quieter, it might give, you know, a fraction of a decibel more. And if you're putting it post limiter, you're inadvertently clipping. You can kind of visualize that here on your master channel. So I just want to make sure we're not doing that like this. And I was saying while my mic was off, I think me and Mark have worked on this project either in a stream like this in the past or in one of our one-to-one sessions, because he's a mentee of mine. So there's not too much that we can change on this one. It's sounding really good as it is. I think what's left is like the sparkle stuff and making it really special. A few ideas I had here. There's these little transition parts that we can probably do something more special with. I think that's a little bit abrupt right there. So what I'm going to do is find where that lead is, and maybe we can address that. I think it's this guy. Yep. Let me go ahead and do a... I'm curious why it's doing that. It's probably his... Yeah, okay. It's actually this. And what I'm going to do, rather than do this, I'm just going to grab a delay or reverb send. He's not using it for anything else, so I'm just going to use the send here. And what you'll notice is, like, this is cutting off the low end when it hits that breakdown, because it's on the channel that is apparent to this main lead channel here. So if you want this lead to kind of bleed out, there's no real way to do that short of making this a separate channel from this one and then low passing the second part. For example, if we made this clip a separate channel, we can low pass the second part, and then this first part, you know, you can have echo out. But that's very cumbersome. So what I'm going to do is just create this reverb send. What I'll do is I'll automate a little boost of a send right here, so that we can get, you know, a little bit of this signal into a reverb and have it echo out on this channel in the same way that it would if this was its own channel. Let's see if this works. Maybe a little bit more. And give it some delay, or decay rather. Now let's go ahead and solo this to see how it sounds on its own. It's very quiet. I'm gonna send some more. Let's send like -5 or something. Still pretty quiet. Maybe if we reduce the mix a bit. Now let's keep the mix up so we have that full length, and then maybe we can just boost the volume on this channel. I'll go ahead and give it like 6. Hello, Haley. Literally. Yeah, it's still too quiet. Maybe like 12. Yeah. So then we get that nice fade out. And it lingers rather than just cutting off like that. Because before, you know, without this send, there's no real way to get, you know, or achieve this, what we're trying to do here. So, yeah, the alternative maybe is to, you know, stick this filter before the reverb. That would work too, but it seems like your reverb is built into your lead, so I don't want to do that. And that works just as well. So, sounds good. Contrast part. What we can do now is take a look at the pluck, and I have a few ideas for this one. Like I said, the overall arching balance and the writing and stuff is fine. We've worked on this before, but I just want to see if we can get that pluck to sound a little bit more like juicy. Let's see. Maybe it is. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and put an OTT on this. Give it a little bit of crunch, I think. This is coming out hot out of the serum. I'm going to turn that down a bit. Maybe it's a little bit longer. Put the reverb at the end of the chain as well. Still maybe a little bit longer than that. Yeah, that's pretty nice. And then in addition to that, maybe a little bit of delay. Not too much high delay, just a little bit of low delay, bouncing around with a ping pong. Just to kind of fill the sides up a bit. It might be really nice. Yeah, two is nice. Yeah, that's kind of nice. And this sidechain is pretty aggressive, so I'm going to reduce that cut a bit. So I think that stab is really important to the sound. Adds a little bit of flavor and bounce to those stabs. I think it really filled out the energy a bit more. So we got that. We got the transition from that to the breakdown. I think this is a little abrupt here too. Like, if we just kind of filtered this in over time rather than just starting it, might be a little bit more effective here, like something like this. similar thing here with the cutoff. I think that this comes in a little hot. I'm just gonna go ahead and filter this out a bit more and bring it back in. Like that. Seems like that's the only time you use this. I'm just curious if you're in the chat why you would use it here rather than do like one of these others. But I don't know if this is necessary here. Just ease up on the cutting, I think, a little bit. It's not super necessary to do this much EQ. And when you over EQ, you tend to remove essential harmonics to the fundamental series, or the frequency series, and you end up with a sound that feels like it's lost its bass. So make sure that you're not, you know, doing this. You want it, if your note is in there and it's playing, you want to be playing it. Otherwise, you end up with a series of harmonics of that note that exist in the high end, but the low end is just not there. And then you end up with a harmonic series without its fundamental, and then you end up with a really messy sound. Okay, that's Mark Eldon's Singularity, sounding really, really good. Not too much to change on this one. I think that the main thing that we did was, you know, fix that lead transition into the breakdown that felt really abrupt. Fix some of the other transitions into the breakdown and making the breakdown feel a little bit more subdued so that the drop feels bigger. And then also, you know, just correcting a few other things with your mastering and that sort of stuff. Sounds really good though. Love this one. And yeah, keep working on it. Mark's in the chat. Hi. Think I planned to change the chord structure there, but didn't. Oh, okay, I got it. Oh, this one here. I think he's referring to. Yeah, that could be cool. Like a nice chord change in the bridge. Give that a go. But anyway, that's Mark Eldon's Singularity. Really, really cool track. It's almost complete, I think. It's pretty close. All right, let's get into the next one. We have two more to go today. We have Pushing by Ricky Allison. And it's Beautiful Errors remix. That is Zan in the chat. He's always incredible. Zan is one of the better submissions consistently on these streams, so very excited for this one. I have a feeling I'm not going to have to change much. Get that open. Thanks, Mark, for submitting. Great track. Love that one. Yes. While we wait for this to load, how are you guys doing in the chat? How are you guys doing all over the world? Somebody said you were in other countries earlier in the stream. I'm curious where all of you new streamers are, or viewers are. Uh-oh, I don't have like half your plugins. Let's see if I can open this. Should be fine. Let's go ahead and give this thing a go. Okay, so you have a lot of space here in the front. I'm just going to play it from where it says start, which makes a lot of sense.
Tell me why do you keep pushing?
I remember this one. It's super solid.
You just keep pushing, pushing, pushing me away. Do you even want me, want me, want me to stay? You say I'm the reason for your problems, so I try to be better, but you say I'll never solve them. Tell me why. Tell me why do you keep pushing, 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 pushing?
That's a groove right there.
Tell me that we'll be okay. Are we gonna be okay? You say that you're tired of the lying. I don't lie, alibi. You say evidence shows me that you're lying.
Crazy,
I'm
yeah.
about to cry. Tell me why do you keep pushing, 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 pushing me away? Are we gonna be okay? I don't know if we'll be okay. Tell me why do you keep pushing, 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 pushing me away? Are we gonna be okay? I don't know if we'll be okay. You can call me harsh, trash, selfish, grass. Try to leave me defeated. Can say I'm an ass, crazy, reckless. I know you don't mean it. Tell me why do you keep pushing, 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 pushing. Tell me that we'll be okay.
Huge Anjuna vibes there. Super like it bumps you.
Tell me why do you keep pushing? Pushing. You can call me harsh, trash, selfish, grass. Try to leave me defeated. Can say I'm an ass, crazy, reckless. I know you don't mean it. Tell me why do you keep pushing, 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 pushing me away? Tell me that we'll be okay. Are we gonna be okay? Tell me why do you keep pushing, 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 pushing me away? Tell me that we'll be okay. Are we gonna be okay? Tell me why do you keep pushing, 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 pushing me away? Tell me that we'll be okay. Are we gonna be okay?
Man, when this is done, you'll have to send it to me. I could probably get it on group therapy. It's like right in their alley. So, yeah, like I was saying, I expected this to be good, and it is really good. I think we had a conversation about this, me and Zan, in our last one-on-one session. And it's still a little bit of an issue here. I think all of the collective parts are great, but the flow of the arrangement is kind of weird. Like, you don't expect
Trash, selfish, grass. Try to leave me defeated. Can say
Like, it's super good, but this first appears like here after like let me see, I'm just gonna do this really quick. I'm gonna assume that you don't need this, and I'll do I'll make the time signature reset here so that your grid is on beat. This is, let's see, you know, like 2 minutes in and you still haven't introduced this idea, or like even like the bigger musical ideas. So you've done the song structure thing, which is great, but I'm going to try to make a simplified version of this. So like, let's see.
tell me why do you keep pushing?
Yeah, let's call this intro. That's so good.
You just keep pushing.
Okay, this makes sense so far.
Away. Do you even want me to stay? You say I'm the reason for your problems, so I try to be better, but you say I'll never solve them. Tell me why do you keep pushing? Be away. Tell me that we'll be okay. Are we gonna be okay? You say that you're tired.
So I'm thinking maybe you can try this. This is like interesting format, but it might make more sense if we grab this bridge part and stick it here.
Tell me that we'll be okay. Are we gonna be okay? Trash, selfish, grass. Try to leave me defeated. Can say I'm an ass, crazy, reckless. I know you don't mean it. Tell me why do you keep? You say that you're touching.
No, never mind, because the lyrics lead into this next part. That's really difficult.
Tell me why do you keep pushing? Be away. Tell me that we'll be okay. Are we gonna be okay? You say that you're tired of the lying. I don't lie. Alibi. You say evidence shows me that you're lying. So I try. Tell me why do you keep saying I'll never solve them? Tell me why do you keep saying I'll never solve them?
Huh. This is a definitely difficult track to arrange because the lyrics kind of feed back into that chorus every time. But usually you do, you know, like an intro and then a verse, and then like from this verse you drop. And then you have like another verse, like your breakdown. But you're kind of lacking this drop, so it's like it goes from a verse to like a mini chorus to like another verse. And then it finally builds up into the drop. So ideally, you know, this part here should probably be like here. Ideally. And then you can repeat the whole process again. But right now it feels like, you know, too much verse for the first like minute. And it doesn't really get to the point of the drop until like, you know, 2.5 minutes in, right? So that would be my one critique for this song, is like it doesn't, the drop doesn't really feel like it's in the right spot. And then like your drop just kind of carries on, and then like it goes out, like it mixes out. So if you could figure out a way to just do this and just kind of grab your build up and your verse and cut time and then, like, you know, somehow do this like that. This would make a lot more sense, because then you have a verse and then you have like a pre-chorus and then a drop, then a verse and then a pre-chorus, then a drop, and then you're mixed out. That would be ideal. I don't know if it's gonna work lyrically though. That's really tough. So what did you do in this might actually work. Okay, hold on. Let me grab this build section verbatim. And let me try this.
Tell me why do you keep pushing?
That's not right. Nice, Julian. Alright, there you go.
You say I'm the reason for your problems, so I try to be better, but you say I'll never solve them. Tell me why do you keep pushing? Tell me that we'll be okay.
So, like, it's not perfect, but this makes a lot more sense now.
Tell me why do you keep pushing? You're tired of the lying. I don't lie, alibi. You say evidence shows me that you're lying about.
So, like, this part right here is a bit weird. Like, the lyrics don't quite line up, but from an arrangement perspective, this makes more sense, because we're going from the verse, or the intro to the verse, to the build to the drop, then another breakdown verse thing.
You say that you're tired.
Maybe we can just cut that last part of the vocal, right? Like, maybe we can just chop this off.
You say that you're I don't lie. Tell me that we'll be okay. Are we gonna be okay? Tell me why do you keep pushing?
Hey, that surprisingly works. Let's see about this.
I know you don't mean it. Tell me why do you keep pushing? I don't lie. Tell me that we'll be okay. Are we gonna be okay? Tell me why do you keep pushing me away? Are we gonna be okay? I don't know if we'll be okay. Tell me why do you keep pushing me away? Are we gonna be okay? I don't know
Really
if
good.
we'll be okay. You can call me harsh, trash, selfish, grass. Try to leave me defeated. Can say I'm an ass, crazy, reckless. I know you don't mean it. Tell me why do you keep pushing? Tell me that we'll be okay. Pushing, be away. Tell me that we'll be okay. Are we gonna be okay? Tell me why do you keep pushing?
So like that's undoubtedly your chorus. The push-in is really your chorus. So I don't know. This is an experimental take on the arrangement. I think that's my biggest concern for this is not the writing or the mix or any of that. I think it's the arrangement, because the way you had it, it felt like the first minute and a half or 2.5 minutes actually just kind of dragged. There wasn't like any sort of resolve. So you really need to get to the point and get to the drop, within the first minute and a half, I think. And this kind of resolves that. It's not a perfect solution, but those vocals that you have don't have a perfect solution, I don't think. So let me give this a listen through and see if this resolves a little bit better into the drop now.
Tell me why do you keep pushing?
I love this part. Might be better to keep that main vocal here. So like,
tell me why do you keep pushing? Be away. Tell me that we'll be okay. Are we gonna be okay? Tell me that we'll be okay.
yeah, so that you at least have that main vocal kind of resolving the phrase. That's sounding good.
Tell me why do you keep pushing?
This part is a head scratcher. I have no idea where to put this, like where it sounds right, because this belongs really in like the melodic drop, like this part.
Tell me that we'll be okay. Are we gonna be okay?
Maybe if you made this first drop a little bit more on the melodic side, like borrowed some stuff from here towards the B section of this, like maybe bring the bass from here to here, and add some of the other elements that are melodic here so that it makes this part feel better in context. It might work better. I can see this as, like you said, it's a pre-chorus, but I think it's also like a tail end B section finisher of like a chorus. Like you have, let's say 32 bars. The first like 24 or whatever it is could be like the main drop, and then you have this turnaround, which is like the you can call and da 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 da, and then it resolves back around, and then it drops back into this. I can see that working. Like but it just would require this to be in the right spot. Like, for example, if I just copy this, cut time, just paste it here for a moment, right here.
Are we gonna be okay?
Yeah.
Try to leave me defeated. Say I'm nuts, crazy.
Have I looped this part to make more sense? Like,
I know you don't mean it. Tell me why do you keep pushing?
see how it's like it can also be a turnaround for the drop. You just have to make sure it fits in the right spot. I think that you're gonna have to do a lot of crafty work in getting that vocal, or like working around the vocal to make it. You can't use it as it was, as is what I'm saying, in this genre. It doesn't really make sense in the arrangement.
You can call me up.
So like, let's just play this last drop here. That's awesome.
Tell me that we'll be okay. Are we gonna be okay? Tell me why do you keep pushing?
Yeah, that's awesome here.
Tell me that we'll be okay. Are we gonna be okay? Tell me why do you keep pushing?
Liking that.
Tell me that we'll be okay. Are we gonna be okay?
So yeah, this is a turnaround.
You can call me selfish, grass. Try to leave me
Yeah.
defeated. Say I'm nuts, crazy, reckless. I know you don't mean it. Tell me why do you keep pushing?
Yeah, that's just one idea.
I know you don't mean it. Tell me why do you keep pushing?
So you can give that a try. But I think that we resolved a lot of the issues here just by, realigning the priorities a bit. So we have like this verse, build, drop, verse, build, drop. And now it feels a little bit better, more like a dance track, because before it was very like drum intro and then a verse and then a slight build up and then another verse for like 2 minutes. So this helped a lot. I think you probably know what to do with this from here. If you make this a little bit more musical in this latter section, you can, maybe even fit this turnaround here as well, and then go into the drop of the verse, the breakdown, whatever you want to call it, and then build up in the same way and do the drop again. And the build up, or that bridge thing feels really, really nice here in the break.
Selfish, grass. Try to
Also, your falsettos are awesome. Really love this track. I don't really have critiques for the other stuff. I think we've addressed that in our previous calls before. I think that for the most part, the mix is great and the writing is really solid as usual for you. But you got to get that. You definitely have to get that arrangement in a more danceable, like more EDM centric fashion, which has been the consistent problem for this remix. I know it's difficult because I'm even kind of stumped on it, but I think these are some tips that will put you in the right direction towards what you need to do. All right, that's Beautiful Errors remix of Pushing by Ricky Allison. Alson, maybe. And incredible as always. He's always blown me away with the submissions. Really, really cool. And we have one more today, and that is, let's see, RXILZ Rexels, I think. Not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but we're doing this one. Zan, awesome dude, thanks. Yeah, no problem, man. I love that track. Really, really solid. I think the question marks are in regards to the Ulson or Allison or whatever. I can't really tell. Is that an L or another I? Like, I guess it would be a lowercase, so I guess it's Olsen. RX and Ills. RX Ills? Alright, next up we have that one. Oh. Like medicine and illness. That's interesting. How you doing? Okay, so let's get that last one open. We've had some really good submissions today. These are all really, really solid. And like I mentioned in the beginning of this stream, if you're interested in sending your projects in for next time and you want your track to be either worked on like this, or I can give you feedback if you're in another DAW over like SoundCloud or Discord or whatever, or not Discord, Dropbox or whatever, you can send in your project files or your bounce if you're in FL Studio or whatever. And I'll give you feedback on the stream. You can get feedback from everyone in the chat. I do these every month, so if you're interested in next month, we do these the second Saturday of every month for patrons of the channel. So go and check out my Patreon at patreon.com/JulianGray, and you can submit there. I'm missing some of your contact stuff. I hope this isn't a huge problem. Rixels. I and then an L. Got it. So it's like a silent I in there, like Rixels. I like the lowercase x in there. It's really cool. Cool. Let's check this out. Particle Collider by Rixels. I think I'm saying that right. If I'm not, let me know in the comments. If I gather what you're saying, I think that is right. All right. Here we are. I've been thinking about streaming more, not this kind of stuff, but just writing music again. If you guys are interested in that, let me know in the comments. Really nice atmosphere so far. Streamers react to Rixels. Nice. Percussion panning is awesome. By the title, I assume it's got like some storytelling elements here. It's like it's supposed to be very spacious and futurism. This is crazy. Man, this is really sick. Like, it's really forward thinking and experimental. Like, very atypical. I just love it. Oh man. Yeah, dude, that's really, really cool. This to me is something that's it's not like dance music. It's not electronic music. It's more like experimental, forward thinking, narrative driven music, which is really cool. I sense like a story to this, like I was saying in the chat. You're trying to tell a story with the music, and you can really distinctly see that by your your wild tempo automation here. You're just trying to convey like a story and, you know, focus on, I'm assuming that's like the next song or something. Focus on the next, focus on telling a story rather than, you know, trying to make a dance banger. There's not much I would, you know, give you feedback on for this because it's so forward thinking and out of my scope of music. I don't know that my feedback will be useful for this. I think if I had to say anything, a few of the elements were a little bit loud, like you're in this intro part. The one to my left is really, really loud. It might be this one. No, that's just your kick. Nope. It's definitely one in here. It's like doom doom. Probably is this guy. Nope, it's not that one either. Yeah, you bounce the whole thing out. Yeah, it's this guy. I'm sorry. That one. It's a little too loud. But other than that, I don't really have critique for this because I think it's beautiful as like art. Like you're telling a story. This would work really well in like a video game or like a science fiction film. Like it doesn't feel like listening music. Like I wouldn't go on Spotify to listen to this necessarily. It belongs as like a larger piece, maybe an album, you know. And I love, one of the things I really love is like this switch from kind of, you know, more organic, groovy feeling here, and then it gets into this part and you have that piano just kind of going nuts. And the piano feels very digital, like it's very intentionally uniform. So there's this huge contrast between like this organic, like swung feeling, and then that piano feels so like intentional. Love your soundscapes and sound design too. It's really great, man. If you haven't already, I would say that you should try to work on, you know, film and game music, because this is, like I said, it's very experimental and very forward-thinking IDM, but it would work very well for like, you know, like a science fiction film or even like an indie film that's trying to tell a unique and forward-thinking story, because I definitely sense a story to this. Like, this is the climax is this big part with your tempo shifts, wherever that was. That's crazy. Yeah, man, if I have any tip for you, just never stop being creative. This is so cool. You took tempo changing to the next level. You're going from like 20 BPM to like 1,000. That's really cool. Yeah, that one in particular is just really loud. That it's the same one from earlier. I don't know which one it is because I have too much delay on because of my buffer rate, but you can probably find it and turn it down a little bit. I don't want to give you feedback on this because I feel as though I'd be doing it a disservice because it's already so unique and forward thinking. I don't have any like feedback because anything I would say would be to, push this in the direction of my music or like in a more uniform or more like EDM centric ideas. And I like how natural this is. Are you doing that panning manually or no? Okay. One thing I'd say is you can probably simplify this process a lot just by using a drum rack rather than doing it in audio, but that's up to you. Like a drum rack with several samples rather than different channels individually for each of these. But that's more of a workflow taste thing. With the ARP that was going. I'm assuming you're talking about the piano. I think that it's not blending, but it's to like the strength of the song. It feels very like a different and new perspective on this part, because this part is very organic, free floating. It feels like that ARP isn't even like locked to a tempo. And this part feels so rigid, 16th note or whatever it is. 8th note. I love your sweep there too. As far as like mixing and stuff, I think you've got it. Maybe like the kick could be a little louder, but yeah. I'm curious to hear you said this is part of a 10-song album, and I'm curious to hear that, and I also would like to hear like maybe like the theme that you're writing about. It sounds almost like a like some sort of space expedition or some high technology futurism themes or something. I don't know. You'll have to explain it to me, and you'll have to send me the album because this is really interesting. But I really don't want to give you bad feedback on this because I think you what you've done here is really creative, and I don't want to stifle that by trying to push it towards mainstreamism. But I think it's really solid, really cool. If you have anything more dancey or in my realm, I think that would be better for me to critique. But this one is a little bit too forward-thinking for my expertise. Cool. So that's Particle Collider by, we were just saying, it's Rixel. I believe. I save this as. Yeah, Dan, I don't want to give you bad feedback on this. It's really cool. Send me the whole album. I'm definitely curious to hear that because it's really cool. I gotta save this again. Sometimes, I don't know if you guys have ever run into this issue where your project files don't save correctly for some reason. Yeah. Anyway, I think that wraps it up for this stream, guys. If you guys watching are interested in submitting next time, make sure to go check out patreon.com/Julian Gray, and you can check out all the benefits there. And you know, get your tracks in for next time, and I can review them and work on them on the next stream. If you had a track submitted today, all the download links for this will be in the description of the Patreon post, and then you can go and download it there. A few things. We just launched these cool gradient Valentines. If you don't have a gift for your significant other or any artist in your life, these are free printable Valentines from the team at Gradient, which is my collective. And you can go and find those on the Gradient page, which is at Gradient Arts. And then also check out Sadowick's GoFundMe recently. His family home burned down, and if you're a Ableton user, you've probably seen his videos, so go check that out. So anyways, guys, it's good to talk to you. Good to help you with your project files as usual. And I think I'll see you guys in the next stream. I'm Julian of Julian Gray Media, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Thank you guys for submitting, and